It's the Elsa Kurt Show with Clay Novak. Serving up trending news and conservative views. Brought to you by the Elsa Kurt Collection. And Refuge Medical. And now, it's time for the show.
Well, another week, another big batch of topics. I think we're outdoing ourselves this week. And there's still so many more we could have thrown in there, right? So much stuff. But as usual, Clay, you picked some really good ones. How are you?
I'm good. I have to apologize to everybody for last week. So last week, Elsa was in Florida awaiting grandbaby number 4. I was going to take the show on my own. I was sick as a dog. And I actually did what I think I said 46 minutes. And then all of a sudden the show locked up. Our website locked up. And without Elsa, I am technologically helpless. And I accidentally erased the entire show, and I was so tired and sick. I was like, I can't do this again. So I apologize to everybody. We didn't have a show last week. 100% my fault.
Technology is great until it isn't, right? Like until it just screws us over, and it loves to do that. So yes, no worries. I feel worse for you that you pushed through, you powered through it, and then that had to be just one of those like pick up the laptop and throw it moments.
Yeah, it was a break something important kind of moment, and I did not. But I also was like, I can't try this again. So again, folks, I apologize. 100% my fumbled football. So, but we're making up for it because I think, if I counted right, I think we are at an all-time high, potentially 9.
I think it's 9. Yeah, I'm looking right now. 9 topics. So we are ready.
We don't have time to waste.
Yes, no kidding. So actually, you know what, Clay? Let's we're gonna jump right into it. I don't even have our fun little segue intro thing. So I suck. I'm still out of sorts. I'll give you the quick lowdown. I'm gonna take up a few seconds. I went on, as you know, to await grandbaby number 4. I got there on Thursday. Her due date was Friday. Friday came and went, as well as the rest of the week, and plus a few more days. I left, came home this past Saturday. Baby number 4 arrived this past Monday, and I was not there for it. So you can all imagine what a not happy camper I am. But I am ecstatic and thrilled, and we're all so blessed. She is healthy, beautiful, perfect, wonderful, and all is well. So that's the most important thing. And I'm counting down the days until I get there again. So that's that. So that is my big update. Thank you guys all in advance for all of your prayers and well wishes. Clay, as you can agree, we have like the best support system here on our show, and everybody's always so kind and gracious and encouraging and all of that stuff. So thank you again. Thank you in advance. But on to the many topics. So we got to start. It was a toss up, but I'm going with this one, Clay. This is our starting point, right?
Yeah. So this happened, 2 days ago. So Shane Devon Tamura drove a Las Vegas resident, security guard, possessor of a concealed carry permit in Nevada / Las Vegas, the city, decided to drive across country in his personal vehicle with a couple of weapons, including an AR rifle. Drove all the way to New York City. And if you've seen, like, they've tracked his movement through toll booths and those kinds of things. I'm fairly confident that he drove straight through or fairly close from Las Vegas to New York. Drove all the way into the city, double parked his BMW, got out with his rifle and walked into an office building, which houses, among other things, the NFL headquarters, and decided to start shooting people.
Yeah. So great. So I think there's probably still some conflicting messages on what the motive was, what all those things are. The latest that I've heard is that they believe he was targeting someone specifically within the NFL headquarters. I honestly don't know the accuracy of that. I think it's probably going to be a little bit before we get the full scope of the picture. There was some screenshots of a note of sorts in his pocket that they extracted that talked about having, I forget what it's called. I'm drawing a blank on what it's called, but a brain injury typical from sports, from football specifically. So there's no record, I don't think, of him playing football. Again, don't know. guys, I am catching up on everything. I was in toddler land for the whole week, so I'm like 2 steps behind on everything. So bear with me, and Clay is going to do a lot of correcting on me today, I think.
What you're talking about is CTE.
Thank you.
And CTE is a result of numerous concussions. And the speculation is that this young man had a beef with the NFL because he was a high school football player, diagnosed himself, I think, with CTE, because you can't be diagnosed with CTE until after you're dead and after they cut your brain open.
Right.
And
that was part of his request, right? For them to study his brain in this note.
I caught a piece of that, but it was, yes, this argument about CTE. And listen, folks, I've mentioned this probably more than once. So I'm about a dozen concussions in my life. Everything from being full contact boy to lifelong soccer player to jumping out of planes for 10 years to close proximity, high explosives, while deployed. So I've picked up a number in that through medical exams, a number of high-level medical exams. The best number they can guess is 12. So CTE, scares the crap out of me. And the thing about CTE, it's been diagnosed post-mortem in a number of former NFL players, is there's this propensity for violence, and a number of these have ended up being murder-suicide. They do the post-mortem, the autopsy, and they find out CTE, violent acts, suicide by cop, and some other things. So, this is a concern. I would tell you that while this young man, had some issue with the NFL because he thinks this is football related or he's self-diagnosed, I would not go that far. The diagnosis, obviously we won't know until they do that autopsy, and they may not even release that to the public. But also this is a matter of playing football. This isn't the NFL's fault. It's not, that would be like me. I chose to play soccer even up until a couple of years ago. All the years I spent in the Army, all the years I still jump out of planes, folks. I still do. Right? Me blaming anybody for the TBIs that I have is crazy. It's ludicrous. But that begs the question: anybody who drives from Las Vegas to New York with the intent of causing harm, he clearly had some mental issues. Now, are they a result of traumatic brain injury and potentially CTE? We won't know until that autopsy is done. Unfortunately, 4 people were killed beyond himself. He did kill himself on the 33rd floor, shot himself in the chest. But there were 4 people that were killed, including an off-duty police officer acting as a security guard. Diraduk Islam, I think, was the gentleman's name, the officer's name, which is obviously not that anybody, one more of value than any of the rest. There were 4 people killed. One of them happened to be an off-duty police officer. So, of course, there were some fumbles by CNN. I don't know if you saw this or not.
Oh, I saw it and have it. Let's take a look.
They do not know who he is. They know he is a male, possibly white. He's wearing sunglasses. He appears to have a mustache. And that picture has been distributed to every police officer in New York City.
Now that is their screenshot and everything. And to sit there and say that and to be not corrected by the other person. I mean, come on now. Just come on. Enough already. Just take them off of the air. CNN has to go. It is beyond absurd now. That took the cake for absurdity, and they've done so much and said so much that is beyond the pale. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's possibly white, is also possibly black, is also possibly Asian,
right?
Possibly Hispanic, is possibly a lot of things. Yeah. That obviously is stick both feet in your mouth at the same time kind of a statement. And you're right, and the CNN hosts let it pass. And that is part of the narrative that is always attempted to be driven into these things before anyone knows anything. And then, of course, that fell apart. No redaction, no apology that I've seen from CNN about that. Right. And then you've got, of course, the Mayor Adams, is from New York, is, touting anti-gun laws, anti-2A stuff. You're getting that from a lot of people. Listen, this guy drove from across the country. This has nothing to do with gun laws. He you can ban those rifles in 49 states. If somebody decides that they're going to break the law and get one, they're going to get one. It is what it is.
They're going to get one. Yeah.
You can argue, and I would argue to the contrary, in that had someone besides a security guard been in the area, been armed, that this may not have lasted as long as it did. You could argue that point as well. Right. It's all speculation. It's also crappy timing. Like, I know everyone wants to immediately politicize these things, but we have got to, in the order of humanity, get beyond that, right? Deal with the cause of this, in this case, probably a mental health issue or a physiological issue, but you've got 4 dead people, 5 if you include the shooter. And of course, we immediately go to politicize what happened, as opposed to dealing with the root cause of this, and really in the immediate effect and aftermath on the 4 families that are affected, and even the 5th family, including the shooter, of the people that died on the scene. So we need to grow up on these things, including the network, including politicians. Take a breath, do some analysis, figure out what happened, politicize it after we figure out what really happened.
Right.
If you want,
and that goes for both sides, right?
Yep.
Because both sides, you have one side automatically, instantaneously saying, must be a Republican. I bet he's one of those MAGA people. And the other side is saying, no doubt it's a liberal, crazy liberal. And, either one of those things could be true, but we don't know. So how about wait to find out what the motive is, find out what's going on, and like you said, the clearest conclusion to come from this is, in any incident like this, is that this is a person, like, this is the common denominator. This is a person suffering from mental illness. Nobody in their right mind will do something like this. And you can't even call this like a fit of rage. It's they have those rage crimes. You physically, mentally cannot sustain rage for that length of time. So it's not, I even know if you can call it premeditated. If this is somebody who's not in their right mind, I mean, there's some premeditation, but it's not of right mind. So that's the common denominator every single time. And I know somebody on our side of things will say, no, the common denominator is that they're always liberals. That's true in a lot of cases, not all the cases. And to Clay's point, what does it even matter? Like, what does it even matter at this point? Get to the core issue, which is not guns. It is mental illness and our handling of it. And I think really the people who instigate and fuel, not necessarily in this specific case, this seems like, kind of a really just a freak thing, really. This wasn't politically motivated. He wasn't going after a political figure or someone for their own political affiliations. This was simply, and I hate to make it so, simple, but to say that this was somebody who was suffering with some type of psychotic break, and this is what happened from it. So what can we do? How can we improve the way we handle mental illness? Because we know that the institutions are overrun. They're just filled to capacity. The whole system itself is slow. And we've talked about this before. We've talked about this with parents of children who have done these things, and and everybody's so quick to attack the parents and say, well, they must have been being really bad parents. They could very easily and very probably be parents who have tried everything to get their adults, in these cases often children, the care that they need, and their hands are tied for all the reasons we talked about last time. You made so many good points with that in that last conversation. So echoing Clay again, stop with all the noise. Just stop with all the stupid noise that always comes around all of this. Get to the root, do what we can do feasibly. And again, you're never going to be able to eliminate this completely. This is a sad fact of life,
Yeah. And it's, it's a statement on where we are as a, as a, not just as a nation, but as a humanity, as it stands right now. Yeah. Is this, acceptable level of violence across every, medium that we look at, whether it's social media, whether it's movies and television, whether it's, and listen, I'm a guy who writes this stuff, right? I write action fiction. I could lay blame or lay responsibility on even what I produce as an author. But we collectively need to take a look at really where we're at in what is acceptable in public, right? I mean, this is, the violence as a solution solver is not it, but unfortunately that's where we are right now. And this kind of bleeds into our second, subject that we're going to hit tonight. And this is this, issue in Cincinnati. And folks, if you haven't seen this, and if you have a weak, squeamish stomach, this is probably not something that you really want to watch, because it's tough to take. It's probably, one of my, I always measure things against, if you ever seen the movie American History X, which is one of the most violent, there's a street beating scene in that movie that is like, it's upsetting, as a guy who, was surrounded by violence as an adult, to see that movie, this beating is not quite that bad, but it is really, really rough to handle. So, a few days ago in Cincinnati, outside of a number of businesses, but specifically a club named, I think it's Big L, small O, Big V, small E, which is a fairly new club in Cincinnati. In and amongst a couple of things, there's a jazz fest going on. There was a big 3-on-3 soccer tournament going on. There was a Cincinnati Reds game that night. So there's a lot of people on the street late at night in Cincinnati. But outside of this club, on the street, a man was beaten, right? So he was attacked, seemingly, from what we know right now, based on the video, unprovoked. Right. And then a couple of folks, specifically a woman, tried to step in and protect him. She also got attacked, got knocked unconscious, got hit the ground. Her head hit the pavement. She was out like a light. People continued to jump in and beat this guy on the ground more. There were approximately estimate of about 100 people observed this, whether it was on their, walking by, passing by, or driving by. There was one 911 call, folks, one. And the only person who stepped in was this woman, and she got knocked out as well. And so the Cincinnati police responded to the 911 call, which, by all accounts, their response time was within reason to the single call. Not the other 99 people who stood by and either filmed it or didn't do anything.
Right.
And then there's been five people charged, 3 arrested. The victims have not been named. Have you seen names? Not that I'm looking for them, but
I have not. Yeah, no, I have not yet. I've seen the videos too, against my better judgment. Absolutely awful. It is so sickening. You feel just a wave of sickness in the pit of your stomach and your heart too. Like, how are we behaving like this in society? Like, what mentality, what kind of people can stand around? And obviously the participants are the, are they the worst? The people watching are the worst. The people cheering it on and recording it, those are the monsters. I feel like, and we would have to like sit and really wrap our brains around it. Like, there has to be some type of law or something put into effect that makes that a crime of some sort. Like, if you have to be a mandated reporter for abuse, right? If somebody's abusing a child, and you work in a certain field, whether you're a teacher or a doctor, all of these different fields, and that makes you a mandated reporter. So if you suspect abuse, you are required by law to call it in, basically. So why can't we come up with something like that? Like, if you are recording a crime and not doing anything about it, and I'm sure there's like all kinds of things that you can counter this with, but just as a general statement right now, why not? Like, why not? That should be illegal to do. You should face criminal charges that if you do nothing, and I'm not saying that you have to jump in like that woman did. You'd like to think that people would do that, as we have witnessed this time and many other times. They don't. In this day and age, just record it and post it to social media and get the likes and the follows and the views on it, and give commentary throughout, which is even more disgusting. But yeah, I don't know. Am I wrong, Clay? I mean, I feel like there really should be criminal charges for anyone who does that.
Yeah, I think it would be probably very tough to prove, but I think it's that should be the goal. I don't disagree with you. I think we would want a society that would step in somehow. I think I even saw you on social media. I think you or somebody asked you, or you responded to maybe a post about, would you step in and help a law enforcement officer in distress, which I know obviously you would, because, law enforcement specifically for you, your husband, et cetera. But we as a society should expect that, right? I can tell you personally that I have pulled over for a number of accidents along the way, like before first responders are there. I found cars in ditches. I found all kinds of things. Like that's what, and oh, by the way, watched people drive by, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And I get it. Some people are not capable, right? Not everybody can handle the sight of blood. Not everybody can get involved physically to deter something like this from happening. Everybody has a cell phone.
Yes.
Right. So yeah, I think probably the place to start is if you film something like this and post it, I think you should be, like if you're not walking up to the police with that film footage and going, hey, listen, I caught the whole thing, prosecute all these people, like that's one thing. But if you're the person, like you said, who's commenting on it, posting it on social media for clicks and likes, but not doing anything but filming it, I think you should be held accountable in some way, shape, or form. I think that's a choice as a human being. However, now you start getting into the freedom, free will, freedom of choice, freedom to blah, blah, blah. So, there's a fine line, I think, that we need to find in there, but we should expect more from fellow Americans on things like this. There have been 3 people arrested. One of these guys, my understanding was out on bond when this happened. So, and a, multiple charges kind of offense, like he was released, his bond was posted at $4,000. He paid $400, the normal 10%, and he walked away on some pretty significant charges and then was out and, was a part of this, was one of the people part of this. So that's a problem. And I know that there's people getting involved. The Fraternal Order of Police took this film footage, posted it, and said, this is your justice system, because they were talking about the guy who was out on bond. You've got mayors, you've got the vice president who is from Ohio. Right?
Yeah, we actually, we had that. He had some strong words for it.
A man who sucker punched a middle-aged woman. That person ought to go to jail for a very long time. And frankly, he's lucky there weren't some better people around, because they would have handled it themselves.
Yeah. Right. Yep. He had some strong words for it. He had a little bit more to say. Mad enough to swear about it too, which rightly so, made me want to swear. I mean, there's so many factors here in both of these cases. It is a societal breakdown. Obviously, desensitized from the horrors of things like that. The reality of it. And that's mental illness in itself. Like what is going on in your brain that you can look at a man being a woman more than anything being beaten and kicked to the ground and left for dead, essentially. I think there was at one point someone was grabbing her arm and yanking her, she's unconscious. She is out and they're just grabbing her and yanking at her. And then the man was just getting kicked and kicked and kicked and punched and beat and the whole thing. And no one is jumping in to stop this. This is such a grotesque representation of what we've become as a society, and things have to change, and they have to be really harsh and drastic.
Actually,
stiffer punishment for everything.
Backtrack it a little bit, and maybe look at a Good Samaritan law because I think a lot of people don't act because we become such a litigious society that if say the guy's on the ground and he's getting the crap kicked out of him, right? And Clay Novak's standing on the street and I roll over there and close fist and I jack the dude that's beating him up, right? Now, the police are going to come at some point. I'm probably going to be arrested, right? But if that film footage comes and it says, hey, look, all he was doing was protecting this guy, that should be like a catch and release. No bond, no charge. If the police can look at it and say, clearly you stepped in to protect that guy or that lady on the ground. Good for you. Have a nice night. Go about your way. We'll probably call you for a witness statement.
I love that.
That I think would probably be more encouraging for people to act, if they know they've got a level of protection in the system. But I think a lot of people have that hesitation of, well, if I step in, one, you're risking yourself, but two, you might get arrested. You might end up in the holding cell. You might be the one prosecuted. And
look at Daniel Penny. Talk about, discouragement for doing the right thing. I mean, that is, the ultimate discouragement for doing the right thing. And I know we just had another big incident. Gentleman stepped in and stopped a major, worse calamity at a grocery store. You saw that one, right?
The Walmart stabbing? Yeah.
Yes. Yep. And did I say grocery store? Yeah, Walmart. And he did step in and he did stop this guy from more damage.
Carry, right? Drew his gun, held the guy in the parking lot until the police showed up. and they got an arrest on
a Marine as well. He was a Marine.
Yeah, former Marine with a concealed carry.
I love those Marines. You know, I love them. Yeah. So, but these are the exceptions now, not the rule, you know, and for all of the reasons that you said, Clay, that, you know, people are afraid of the repercussions. And yeah, I think you're right. I think that's a great place to start. You know, with everybody with their cell phones now and their cameras out for every single incident, it'll be easy enough to prove. So, you know, and all the surveillance cameras that are always around. So, you know, you can prove what you were doing there. But man, oh man, that was disheartening to say the least. It was horrifying more than anything, but really disheartening to see that kind of behavior. And also to the who was she? The police chief. A couple of things bothered me in addition to the obvious. One, that it kept getting referred to as being a fight. You know, the mainstream media. That was not a fight. That was a beating. That was an attack. That was a mob attacking one person. Well, two people technically. It started off with one person, obviously. That was not a fight. That was a vicious, violent mob assault, is what it was. So let's not get that twisted. And then the other thing, I think the police chief there was making kind of more of a big deal about the fact that people didn't call and, you know, weren't calling the police in and everything. She said something else, man. I can't remember what it was. She said something else that was kind of eyebrow raising. If I find it, I'm going to put it up in here. But yeah, so her response and reaction was very critical of the people around, but not critical of the people doing the attacking, you know, and it's that, you know, politically correct mindset. You know, they don't want to get a certain group of people angry and to cause more problems when, you know, the reality is you should be coming down hard on the violence, on the perpetrators of the violence. And, you know, yes, the bystanders, yeah, that's a problem. You definitely should be more than chastised for your lack of action there. But yeah, it's kind of deflecting when it's coming from them, I feel like.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm. But so we'll see what happens with that. If, you know, I don't know. I would like to see the charges be as extreme and severe as they possibly can be. I personally would throw in attempted murder there because you're still going at him when he's clearly down. This isn't a fight. You know, this is way more than that. But, other crazy stuff in the world, different, but still crazy. Wow. 8.7 or 8.8. I mean, I guess, you know, the point doesn't matter so much when you're up that high, but that was wild and scary because, you know, obviously the earthquake itself, but the resulting tsunami, you know, or tsunamis, talk about scary stuff. Holy cow.
Yeah. So my understanding is it was, like you said, I've seen both 8.7 and 8.8, but the highest recorded earthquake is since they've started. They have record. And then, yes, like you said, the tsunamis that followed, I think the good part is that they gave everybody as much advance warning as possible. And it literally in the United States, they kicked it from Alaska all the way down the coast to Southern California. And then obviously Hawaiian Islands, always, you know, in the middle of this. So everybody got a lot of warning. I know there were very specific warnings put out, get all of the boats out of all of the harbors. In the Hawaiian Islands specifically. I actually watched a very quick animation of all of the tracking that they did to watch all of these boats get out of all of these harbors all over the place because they just turn into debris, right? And, you know, they were talking, estimates were between 3 and 12 additional feet on top of tidal waves. So, you know, if this hit at high tide, right, in some of the places in Hawaii, you're talking 20 footers and then plus another 12 feet, right, 32-foot waves. But there was plenty of warning given out. Now, I've said this a million times, Mother Nature, Father Time, undefeated, right? You can't. Within a half an hour of this, you know, of our recording, which again, we started on Wednesday at 2:30 Eastern time. So within the 30 minutes before that, the waves were making landfall, Hawaii and California. So we don't know the extent of any damage at this point, but in preparation, on the, you know, in the Hawaiian Islands, there's two main roads because otherwise, if you've never been to Hawaii, you know, like I think it's highway, is it 1 or the 101, whatever it is that drives around the island, right? It's the funniest interstate in the interstate system because it doesn't interstate to anything.
It doesn't interstate.
No. But there were two roads that go over the mountains to get to other side, to get to higher ground, to get away from the coast. One of them is Coley Pass, which is owned by the Department of Defense. I think it's joint base, both Army and Navy. And that was opened up. And the military has done this many times in the past for bad weather, for volcano evacuation, for all of those kinds of things, fires and whatever. They have opened Coley Pass to civilian traffic and basically said, hey, listen, get on here, don't divert, drive to the other side, and then get off over there. Fine, no big deal. But also there was a private road that it took a number of hours to be opened up. Are you trying to private road owned by one each Oprah Winfrey?
Interesting. Yeah.
Respond until hours later with a bunch of public pressure coming her way to open her private road to gain the same type of access as Coley Pass. Now she did open it, or whoever's responsible. I don't think she lives there, but it's property she owns. Whoever is responsible finally opened the road. Probably should have been done hours earlier with or without her permission, just as a humanitarian kind of thing. But
well, she is all about being a good humanitarian. So,
yeah. So thankfully we won't know, folks. Like by the time this airs, we will know the extent of the damage. But right now, as we record, we have no idea how small or large this is as it impacts the Hawaiian Islands and the coast of California. Yeah,
praying for them. I hope that, I'm sorry, you did say about the tide. Was it or is it? Don't know. Okay.
What if it's high or low tide? What they were saying was plus 3 to 12 feet.
Okay.
On whatever tidal waves that they have.
Got it. Okay.
It could, like I said, you get some 20 footers, 20 plus footers on the North Shore of Hawaii, add 32, add 12 feet to that. Now you're in the 32 to 35 foot range. And now you're talking a lot of significant destruction potential. So,
yeah, it's scary. I saw some of the, over on the tiki-taki, late last night, saw some of the video and images of people evacuating, different areas. I think probably California, I think it was. And, you look at that and it's so overwhelming because it's just bumper to bumper cars and nobody's moving and you're not going anywhere. So that sense of panic has to be just awful. And especially, you always think of, or at least I always think of, if they have small children and just all of those things and your whole life, you don't know if when you drive away, if you're ever going to see your entire life's belongings ever again. And I know, we all know the most important thing is your life and your safety and your loved ones and everything, but it doesn't change the fact that, all your memories and all of your things, it could be just gone in, seconds. So very, very scary stuff. We'll be like the rest of you, keeping an eye on, what happens next there as far as damage and hope that it's, as minimal as it possibly can be. Right.
Yeah. That's all we can do right now. Cause again, Mother Nature.
Yeah. You can't fight her. She's going to do what she's going to do. And we're just going to have to deal with it as best we can. But what do we got next? We got a couple of choices we can go with next. You have a preference?
No.
We're so easy going this
it's all
weekend.
Bad. Send it.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, I know. Let's just go. I'll go right in the order that I have them listed here. Why not? Right. So the latest on this is Ghislaine Maxwell was trying to get herself a sweetheart deal here, offering up, how generous of her. Man, if she's not one of the most hated women on the planet, she damn well should be. She really should. She is such a vile human. And I get of course she's doing what she's doing, like, oh, you want me to talk? It's exactly what every single criminal would say and do, and I get that. But so she offered to talk. She'll tell you, she told him, I'll spill the beans if you either give me clemency, immunity, this, that, and the other. She's just throwing them all out there, her lawyer throwing them all out there. And as of right now, that's all been declined. They said that's not going to happen. Thankfully, they're saying that, and I would hope that they stick to that. Because if you're giving me a choice, honestly, if you're giving me a choice, and I could be wrong here, of giving her a break, essentially, for spilling the names, and letting that woman walk, I have a problem with that. She should be in prison for life. She should never see the light of day. But I get it. I mean, I get the contrast to that, which is like, you could get all of the names. You could get all of these people once and for all.
I would trade. I personally would trade.
Yeah.
So she's supposed
I
to
just hate her so much.
well, she's supposed to testify on August 11th to a House Oversight Committee, and that's who she made the offer. Her lawyer made the offer to. Supposedly, she's been model citizen. She's been, she has interviewed already with Department of Justice, and then she's got this House Oversight Committee, testimony that's supposed to happen on August 11th. And you're right, she offered everything. She asked for everything, and so she asked for immunity and clemency and all of that stuff. The response from the House committee was no. So, she's going to testify as it stands right now. And I can almost promise you they're going to bring her into the House. She's going to plead the Fifth Amendment, and they're going to get nothing more than what they have now. And she will spend the rest of her life in jail, even though she's a model prisoner, or she's acting as a model prisoner and she's trying to get parole. She won't. I personally would cut a deal with her that would be somewhere along the lines of, if willing, if her lawyer's willing, minimum, medium security, no chance of parole, but a decent life for the exchange of everything that she knows and every name that she knows. Because in the back of my head, what bothers me is why. And it may be as simple as your reasoning, but why is the House Oversight Committee not entertaining a deal with her? Why are they saying no? Who are they worried about? You know what I mean? Like, there's potential for people of importance to be exposed. And, is this House Oversight Committee complicit in that by not striking a deal with her? And that's kind of where I have a little bit of, me and my spidey senses, like there's something not right about this. But we do have one last kind of potential, is that this has been thrown at the Supreme Court. And so when they come back into session in September, they are going to have, the 9 justices are going to have a private discussion about entertaining her testimony and the entire case. So we'll have to see what comes out of that. But I disagree. I
don't want to see her walk. I just don't want to see her walking away.
I'm with you on that. Right. I'm with you on
that.
But I think there's so much more information out there that we don't know and won't know. That I would be willing to give her some respite in exchange for good information. But you just don't know what she's going to tell you until she tells you. Like a great deal, and she goes, I don't know, Jack. And then you're screwed.
Yeah, she could easily say, well, I'll tell you everything that I know. Unfortunately, I just don't know anything. Sorry, guys. Thank you. Bye. Yeah, I don't know. I just, yes, getting those names is important. But here's the flip side for me with that, which is, I feel like they know already. Like, so what do they need her for? I feel like all of this information already exists and is in their grasp. So do they just need her to confirm it because she is a firsthand participant? Like, what do you really even need her? So is she bluffing? Why does she matter that much? Like, is this just a show for all of us to make it look like, oh no, we're going to try our damnedest to get that information for you. But my understanding is, and I know there's no list, there are files. It's just semantics, right? Like list, file, call it whatever the hell you want to call it. You have it. I believe that you have all of the damning information that you need. So I don't really know why we're, hyper focusing on her again, to be honest.
It's a valid question. I mean, it's a valid question of, if we have testimony and we have the testimony of the victims, right? Those young ladies who were trafficked, we care. Why? But that tells me that somebody thinks that there is more there, or they do need more, or assume that she knows more than what she's told. So game of cat and mouse. And I think there's some gambling that needs to be done. Across the board, and it's just a matter of how much are you willing to gamble. And I think you're more, bird in the hand. Like, we got her, we're probably not going to know anymore, and let's just see where she's at. And I think I'm in the mindset of let's take a little bit more risk and see if there's more out there.
Right.
We'll see what happens. I do think that ultimately this is going to go to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court's going to go, we're not touching it. And I think they're going to kick it back down to a lower level court, and she just may rot in prison forever, and we may not do anything else.
Yeah. I tend to think that's what's going to happen. I mean, if she gets released, I can't imagine anyone being okay with that. But I guess the alternative to that is if she gives up enough names, if she gives credible, useful information to lock some other major players up in this whole disgusting thing, I don't know. We will see. We're going to keep watching it. We'll keep watching it and keep reporting on it as stuff comes up. Next in line, we are doing so good. We're plowing through these. We're doing good. I think we're going to do this.
I think so.
Yeah, right. Let's talk about Obamagate. So we all know what's going on here, right? We all know Tulsi Gabbard came out swinging, basically, with treason allegations. She accused the Obama administration of using fabricated intelligence in 2016 to sabotage Trump's presidential campaign. A declassified appendix to the Horowitz report shows the FBI ignored evidence of classified emails tied to Obama on Hillary Clinton's server. And there's, like tons of other stuff too. Like this is just kind of the summary here. Trump, of course, President Trump is, of course, echoing the claim. We will show this. Do I have it? Yeah, he had some choice words to say about it.
It was all Obama. This was all Biden. These people were corrupt. The whole thing was corrupt, and we caught them. It was the greatest political crime in the history of our country.
So, so he had that to say about it. And as we know, I believe it was CNN again, cut away when Tulsi was giving her report. They just started talking right over her. They kept the video up, the live video up of her, but as soon as she started giving some details, they're like, and anyhow, so blah, 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 la, 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 la is what they were basically doing. That was the equivalent. So, how pathetic is that? Here we are still having approximately half the country, I would like to think way less than that are sitting there going, conspiracy theory, it's a lie. We don't know what they're talking about. I don't know. Seems pretty real to me. What do you think, Clay?
So this is one of the topics. This was actually the opening topic that I blundered last week. What this stems from is they found an email that was not, erased, destroyed, whatever. They found it. And it is from the former DNI circa fall of 2016, his executive assistant. And so what happened was President Obama this is after the election. So President Trump had won. He had not yet. This was between the election and the inauguration, right? And so he brought the cabinet and some other advisors in and said, listen, this intel that everybody is looking at that says that Russia had nothing to do with this doesn't jive. I don't agree with it. I don't believe it. So you all, the intelligence community, need to go back and rewrite all of your assessments to make them say that there was Russian interference in the election, right? And so there was an email sent out from the DNI's executive assistant, to all of the other heads within the intelligence community that said, hey, listen, per the president's directive, and the ODNI, Office of the DNI, will take the lead on this. We will all collectively rewrite our intelligence assessments to say that the Russians interfered with the election in favor of President Trump. And then within the next few days, those assessments were republished and changed. And this was just prior to the election. I think they actually came out on January 6th of 2017. Interestingly enough, but again, before the inauguration of President Trump. So they found this email. Now, just today, there has been more evidence found. The Hoover Building, for those of you that don't know, the FBI is moving out of the Hoover Building as directed by Director Patel, and they are finding things, including whole rooms that most people did not know or have access to. And just today, they found a number of burn bags. And if you've never dealt with intelligence before, burn bags are a real thing. Okay, don't let anybody tell you otherwise. They are literal 2-foot tall brown paper bags with markings on them that you put classified material in, you roll them up and seal them, and then they are taken to an incinerator and burned. Okay. I have dealt with these a million times. They are a real thing. Okay. They found burn bags in one of these unmarked, unnamed rooms in the FBI headquarters that were filled with the intelligence annex that the DNI reviewed and said, yeah, these don't jive with what we want them to jive. And then they were systematically put away to be destroyed. They were not, however, destroyed. And that's Kash Patel, Director Patel, is currently, he's notified folks that these exist. He is going through with the director of the CIA, the DNI, Tulsi Gabbard, and some other folks to declassify these documents and then they will be turned over to the investigative committee from Congress that is looking into this entire thing. So that's a development as of today.
Oof. Is this part of, you think, Dan Bongino's been in the headlines a lot lately, and he made a pretty jarring statement about, the things that he has seen have, basically shaken him to his core, and just changed him forever, essentially. You think this is part of it? Because I don't think this was actually necessarily in connection to the whole Epstein files. This was more related to the actions and behaviors of the government body, like the skeleton of it, essentially. And he is shooketh, as they say, which is crazy.
Yeah, I agree. I think that statement that he made, I think it was on X, was related to this. And I think because as a deputy director of the FBI, I think because he talked about this is not how you run the republic, et cetera. And I think specifically what he was referring to, even though he was very kind of vague about what it was. But I don't like the fact that he said that. That's one of those, I've got a secret. I'm not going to tell you what it is kind of thing. And I, I've never been a fan of that. And I understand that what he's trying to do is kind of quell the upheaval that says, FBI is not doing anything. They're not showing us anything. We're not getting any of the documents. And he's trying to tell people, relax. This is a full investigation. We're going to do it by the book. But I think his add-on that says, this is jarring. Like, I will never be the same. Like, that's kind of one of those teasers where it's like, well, if it's that bad, just tell us. Right. And I wish he hadn't put that on there, but I understand why he did.
Sure.
But this is growing, because now you've got the evidence too that the Russians truthfully said they didn't care whether it was Trump or Hillary Clinton. They said, like Hillary Clinton could be manipulated because they had the dig on her with the medication and the psychosis and, the tranquilizers and everything else. They also said that Trump would be more amicable to deal with. So they thought she could be manipulated, but they thought he could be talked to, and they really didn't give a crap one way or the other. So why would they interfere with the election? Which is really the kind of the nail in the coffin on this whole thing. So it's definitely interesting, and for sure something that we all need to continue to pay attention to. Don't let it get to the back of the newspaper below the fold, as they used to say. We got to keep this at top of mind to find out really what happened.
Yeah, absolutely. And, and of course, the debates going back and forth are, I don't even know if they're debates, conversations of whether or not Obama or the Clintons will ever see jail time for what they have, now seemingly more and more concretely, provably have done. Will they ever pay for those crimes, or will they find a way out of it, some loophole or something or other? Because the way I understand it, his presidential immunity does not apply to this. I know people were trying to float that one out there. I'm like, and as soon as I heard it, I'm like, yeah, no, that feels like a flat out no. This was nope, not going to fall under that. So
you don't get to, as a former commander who dealt with assessments from intelligence officials, like you don't get to look at the intel guy and go, I don't like you can say, I don't like your assessment. You can even say, I don't agree with your assessment. What you can't do is say, rewrite your assessment to make sure it agrees with what I think. Like that's absolute no. It does a disservice to the intelligence community. It's dishonest. And again, it does not, that doesn't qualify for presidential immunity. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, no, definitely not. Yeah. I mean, like many, like all, I would hope, if there has been, which we all know, I believe that there has been, but I will be fair and say, if there has been wrongdoing, criminal wrongdoing, treasonous wrongdoing, I hope they rot in jail. I'll say it all day long, every day, rot in jail. Don't care at all about anything else to do with them whatsoever. Just get them. I hope they do.
And what's awesome is that while all of this is going on, President Trump is still making deals, right? He just went over to Scotland, walked in, sat down, knocked out this EU-US trade deal. What is it? So we've got 15% tariff on all EU goods. $600 billion in American goods being purchased, including defense equipment. $750 billion invested in U.S. energy of all kinds, gas, natural gas, all kinds of stuff. And so far, I heard this today and I just smiled. The United States has made in tariff income, $150 billion in 3 months, folks. 4 months, I think.
That's a B, folks. Billion. Yes.
$1 billion, right?
Yeah. So much winning. And listen, you want to hate on Trump forever and ever. Go ahead. Like, if that's what, I don't know, that's what warms your heart. If hate warms your heart, knock yourself out. But you can't deny this success. You can't deny it. And you'll be mad about it if you hate America. Be mad all you want.
The only EU official who is upset about this is Macron. And truthfully, pissing that guy off, then I think we're doing a good job.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, wham. Nobody really cares. He's embarrassing himself left and right, that one. So,
and then, talk about embarrassing. So we've got Representative Crockett, who thinks she can control the media. I know she's one of your favorites. You should start impersonating her.
I really should. I don't know if I can do those eyelashes. I think it would give me like trauma. Just that it would feel like having two butterflies sitting on my eyes.
I'm sure you can find a filter.
There you go. Yeah, I'll just use a filter. You're right. Why wouldn't I just take the easy way for that? Yeah, she's right. Oh my goodness. She's just silly. Clay, what is it's like every day is her first day.
Yes.
And she thinks she's the top of the mountain there, that one. So she attempted to block an article by The Atlantic, which is a joke in and of itself, after learning the reporter contacted fellow Democrats without her permission. The audacity to think that they needed her permission. Like, this is what I mean when I say, like, is this her first day? Like, every day must be her first day, because in what universe does a reporter ask your permission to talk to other people about you, that they're writing an article? So dumb. So obviously that went right into the article. Talked to a whole bunch of them. A lot of them basically said, like, on the record, nothing to say. I think off the record, it was like, yeah, she's a pain in the, what. They referred to her as being combative. What a surprise. Are you shocked? I'm like, I am shocked at that. Combative and a liability to her own party. And that is an absolute 100% no duh, which is why we love her. We love her over here on the right, please keep it up. Keep entertaining us with, give me some skit material, because maybe that could happen. Yeah.
Yeah, her level of arrogance, like you said, when she found out that they had not only spoken to people without her permission, but also that the things that were said about her were not all that flattering. Right. And she told The Atlantic that they needed to cancel the profile that they were doing on her, and that she was revoking all of the privileges that she had given them. And they basically turned and looked at her and said, that's not how this works. Like, you agreed to this, you already gave us the information, you signed all the releases or whatever, and you can't take it back. And
so, no take backs.
Yeah. She tried to cancel it. She tried to have it canceled. She tried to have it shut down. And to The Atlantic's credit, and I very rarely, if ever, give them
words we rarely ever say. Yeah.
They proceeded forward, and they have, published or are publishing this article that is not so friendly to, Representative Crockett, which is good. I think we need that. I think we need, we've said it a million times, more honesty in the press, especially from, the ones that traditionally are not all that honest, and The Atlantic is one of those. So it's a good sign from them that they're doing this, and a good sign from her that she's dumb enough to think that she can stop it.
Yeah. I think, one of my favorite, the whole thing of it is my favorite part of it. But one of my extra favorite parts here is that she's, furious that they went to talk to other Democratic leaders about her, because she doesn't want anybody talking about her. She don't like that. However, she has already been notorious for name calling. Let's not forget that she called MGT, and I had to write it down because I have to read it, because saying it's like one of those tongue twisters. Referred to Marjorie Taylor Greene as beach blonde, bad built butch body. Granted, that was very funny just by itself, but the fact that you're, calling another member of Congress that, and then she also had a problem with, she complained about AOC and Bernie going on their little tour together because they were distracting from the party, meaning she wasn't in on that. She wasn't the center of that attention. So that was a problem. So she trash talked her own party members, but they can't talk about her. Like, that's not okay. Oh, can't stand her. She's a joke.
Listen, women on women criticize right now is the hot thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
So young Miss Sydney Sweeney, which
yes,
I didn't even know who she was until we talked about the Bezos wedding and the whole thing. Had no clue who this young lady was. But she is, the young hot thing right now. She's, 26. She's blonde. She's beautiful. She's got a woman's body. She's, all of those things. What she's not is she's not gay, bi, trans. She's not overweight. She's not body positive. She's not any of those things. And she has been, she is the new face and body of the American Eagle Outfitters Company and their jeans, their denim campaign, which is titled Sydney Sweeney Has Great Jeans, spelled with a J. Right?
It's brilliant.
And listen, folks, it's advertising. It's marketing.
Yeah.
They know what sells. And whether you want to say objectifying or not, if she agreed to it and she got paid for it and she's cool with it, did some
it's her business.
That her in a jeans, right? I think her in a jean jacket, I think, with nothing on underneath, right? And so
of course we have it, guys. Yes, we have it. I'll show you. I have no problem with it whatsoever.
Passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color. My genes are blue. My body's composition is determined by my genes. Hey, as a
it's cute. It's funny. She's got a fabulous body. She's, the only mean girl thing I guess I could say about her is that really how she talks? Like she's got a very, I don't know, is that a very California way of talking or something? Yeah. Her manner of speaking is interesting. But other than that, to say that I have a problem with that, I don't have a problem with it. I just find it curious. She's a beautiful, well-proportioned young woman doing what she was paid to do, which is advertise these jeans because she's got the body for them to make them look very flattering and appealing. And of course, surprise, surprise, people on the left, especially white liberal women on the left, find this to be the most offensive, horrific, terrible thing that could ever come across the country in the past 5 minutes. Yes, it's promoting eugenics, right? That's one of their things. It's a nod to Nazism. It's, misogynistic. It's like all of the things wrapped up in one. And the rest of us are sitting here going, no, it's just a gorgeous girl in a pair of jeans selling jeans and being, and the brand being punny. That's funny. Jeans, but not if you're on the left. It's, it's crimes against humanity now.
and in the perfect twist, there's a contrast to, I think there was a previous ad campaign that sounded similar that had Beyonce involved, but then people are also hearkening back to Brooke Shields back in the old Calvin Klein days and those sorts of things. But the reality is that there's no such thing as bad press. And you know what happened on the stock market today? American Eagle Outfitter stock went through the roof. So
listen, I don't even like jeans, but I would go buy those now just because. Right? There you go. Just because. Yeah. So good on them. Brilliant. And yes, it is the rule of, any press is good press. So they are sitting there listening to all of this, watching all of this and high-fiving each other. So good job, liberal ladies. You single-handedly, not Sydney, you single-handedly drove up their stock. So nice work. Proud of you.
The stock that is falling is the WNBA yet again.
Oh man, they cannot get out of their own way. Whoa. Oh, so this is, this right here, this wig incident, of course, is the latest in just a free fall of a comedy of errors, basically. First they ran with they brainstormed this great idea to, wear these shirts and start this whole pay us what you owe us thing. And that kind of nosedive really quick when you really looked at the numbers of what they're bringing in or not bringing in, so yeah, exactly. They're losing money. So fail number one, I think I have more fails than that, but we're just starting there. Fail number one. Fail number two is this wig incident here. We do have video. It's not really a great video, but you can kind of see. We'll play it.
A lot, but at the end, I went through the rim. Oh no.
Picking up her wig.
Oh no.
Running off the court with it. So yeah, so that's awkward and embarrassing.
So if you want to be, they want to be taken seriously as a league. They want to be taken seriously as athletes. They want to be taken seriously as a sport. And the reality is that, so, moving around a screen, her hair got caught, her wig got pulled off of her head. She picked it up off the floor, right? The refs blew the whistle.
Yeah.
because of foul. She picked it up. She ran off the court. Everyone stood there stunned. There was no technical foul called for leaving the court, as there would be for anybody else.
Right.
Because she didn't just run off the court, folks. This wasn't Dennis Rodman running down the tunnel because of momentum and then coming back. She ran off the court all the way back to the locker room to fix her wig, right? And then after a few seconds, about 20 seconds, her team called timeout, right? A penalty involved there. And the announcers were caught. They were calling it a malfunction. They didn't say wig. They never said a word on it. And then to cap it all off, the bench she plays for, this is Kalia Copper, who plays for the Phoenix Mercury. They were playing the Las Vegas Aces, for those people who don't know who any of these teams are like me. So the Phoenix Mercury bench heard a fan behind them, because there's only like 150 people watching the game. They could hear somebody behind them make fun of her and her wig. They reported the fan to the officials, who grabbed the head of security, who had that fan escorted out of the game for making fun. I swear, had a fan making fun of her and her wig.
Great. Now you have 149 fans. Way to go, guys.
Right. And so they look petty. They look scared. They look like it's not serious. And the fan got tossed. And so there's so many things wrong with this. Nobody should take them seriously. The league has shot itself in the foot for the 50th time. They don't protect Caitlin Clark, who is the golden goose, right?
Yes.
And all of this is just garbage. It's crap. They lose money on a daily basis. The NBA needs to stop funding them, shut them down. Like, just I'm sorry.
Yeah, listen, it's either shut them down or get somebody in there that isn't afraid to run this like an organization should be run, with professionalism, integrity, all of the things. Take it serious, do it right, because it is a shame. You have some really, truly talented athletes out there, and they deserve the opportunity to represent their sport and play the damn game. Stop with all this stupid garbage. Stop, making women basically a joke, which is what all of this reflects. And listen, I don't care if she wants to wear a wig. I mean, I don't think it's a good choice, but I wear a wig to play basketball. I mean, but be aware this can happen. And if it does happen, be professional, kick it over to the side and keep playing the damn game.
Keep going.
Yeah. You just keep going. You have a wardrobe malfunction. You keep going, you fix it and you keep going. Be professional. That was not professional. That was embarrassing, in multiple ways. Embarrassing for her. I actually do feel sympathetic to that. If I put myself in that position, I don't think I'd be wearing my wig to play basketball. I mean, these things will get yanked right out. I'm aware of that possibility. So, act accordingly, but whatever. But the whole thing is a joke. Guys, I want to know, is anybody watching? Are you guys watching this stuff? They may, by the way, that was, I almost forgot. There was one more embarrassing incident, and I can't believe, and you're going to be shocked that I am showing this, but I have to.
Oh.
I mean, this is the final, the final nail in the coffin here. This is how seriously this league is being taken. Like, these are the things that are happening. Like, it's just one embarrassment after another. Like, the game actually had to be stopped in order to remove the object from the court. Like,
did somebody throw it onto the court? Is that what happened?
Somebody threw that onto the court. Like, that's how much respect this league has garnered. It's like, it's all very cringe, and it should not be that way.
Find me another business. Find me any business at all that has been in business for 30 years and has lost money every single year. Find one for me, and then we can discuss this. But in the meantime, WNBA's got to go. It's got to go. Yeah. I'm sorry. I hate it for Caitlin Clark. I hate it for, all of the ladies who, tried to build this league, the Sue Birds, Reggie Miller's sister, all of them that started this. I feel bad for all of them.
Yeah.
Because of what this has become and the fact that it's never been successful, but it's time to go.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think so. At this point, it's got to go the way of Stephen Colbert. Or, is that how you say his name? Right? Send him on his way. You're losing money for, in this case, your league. He was losing money for the network. So you got to go.
Interestingly, they lose the same amount of money per year.
Ironic. Yeah. And again, sorry for the young women who take the sport seriously and play it well and are doing everything that they can to do the right things here. it's such a disservice to them the way this is going. But the fact is the fact. You're losing money. You have zero respect, and that's a damn shame. So I want to know in the comments, anybody watch? Does anybody watch? You guys watch it? Because I have not. I never have. Never will. All I catch is the low lights of, when crazy things happen. So, but, well, oh my goodness. So we did it. We went a little bit over, and that's okay. There was 9 topics. I think we threw in a little bonus thing here and there. But all really relevant stuff to what's happening in the world. We try and give you, the highlights and the lowlights of it all, and end up with a little bit of a chuckle at the end there. So, we hope you guys enjoyed the show. As always, we will join you in the comments section. Clay, you want to close them out?
Hey, folks, thanks for joining us. And again, I apologize for last week, but I think we made more than made up for it today with the 9 topics and a little bit of an extended show. And we appreciate you. And from me, as always, keep moving, keep shooting.
Take care, guys.
Prepare for the re-release of Clay's electrifying novel, Keep Moving, Keep Shooting. This is book 1 in his gripping Terry Davis series. Experience an edge-of-your-seat thriller that will leave you breathless. Get your copy of this highly anticipated re-release. It drops July 4th. Don't miss it. She's the voice behind the viral comedy, bold commentary, and truth-packed interviews that cut through the chaos. Author, brand creator, proud conservative Christian, this is Elsa Kurt. Welcome to the show that always brings bold faith, real truth, and no